Whoever you want.
I don't want to know where. Tim Tebow has a lot more velocity on his passes than Jet starting quarterback Mark Sanchez. This from a guy who has caught passes from both. Second-year Jets receiver punt specialist Jeremy Kerley told the New York Star Ledger a lot more velocity. No diss to Mark, but he brings it, man. Tebow's ball comes out a little bit stronger, but he's accurate. He's more accurate than what I thought he was going to be. But he's a good dude. He's a great personality. He'll bring a lot of personality to the team. So, high praise from somebody who has caught passes from both. What do you guys make of this?
I make of it glory be. Here we go.
Who's your new favorite player?
Yeah. Who's this guy again that said that?
You know what? He's pretty good. He will contribute next year. Just get a little slot receiver.
I knew he was going to say that.
Yeah. You know what? This young man is just being honest because he wasn't prematurely prejudiced against Tim Tebow the way everybody in Denver was. Because I remind you, that Denver team loved Kyle Orton. And that Denver team knew full well that the new management and the new coaching staff did not love Tim Tebow. So they were all prone to side with Orton or be anti-Tebow. In this case, this kid is just being honest. He does have a stronger arm than Mark Sanchez, and he is much more accurate than people give him credit for. So this kid has no deep allegiance to Mark Sanchez. He's just saying what he sees and feels, which is, this guy can wing it, man. And I've always said, he's got one of the better deep arms in the league. And you've said that in the fourth quarter, magically, he gets pretty accurate. I think in the drills, he was getting accurate with this kid, and he says, I'm just going to tell the truth about it.
To me, this is going to be the biggest problem of managing the locker room in New York is everybody's going to ask that question. And you talk to players, you don't ever want to compare two players, especially on your team, because you're usually going to make one player mad, or you're going to create some kind of controversy that everybody else has to deal with, which is what happened. So ideally, he doesn't compare.
So you just don't
players.
like what he said for the team?
Well, I just don't. It's just
What's the upside in it?
Unnecessary. And anytime you have to qualify a statement with no offense, usually you know that there's some offense built into the statement.
Right.
So no diss to Mark, then don't say it. You can talk about all the positives of Tim Tebow and all the positives of Mark Sanchez without having to compare the two.
Yeah, I'm with you, Skip. I never thought that Tim Tebow was as bad as people made him out to be. However, let's be real here. Did he catch passes from him in a game where he did struggle with his accuracy? He hasn't. We're talking about coordinated drills where you get the best of you get the optimal conditions. And I expect Tim Tebow to be accurate and to have velocity in that situation. No, he did not get enough credit for how well he could throw under pressure or in pressure situations late in games. But at the same time, these comments are meaningless to say, well, he has more velocity and this and that. You're not in the game, dude. You're not in the game.
We talked about how poor a practice player Tebow can be.
Yeah.
How that's running 7-on-7.
Right. But this is not the situation where he struggles with. This is just him, a guy, some light passing drills. Okay, big deal. Me and you could get out in the back and toss a football around. You probably love my velocity too.
But in the past, Skip, you've always said that the practice component didn't matter. So to be able to look at this comment and say, glory be,
this is judging arm strength, the way the ball comes into your hands as a receiver, and how accurately it comes to you. Tebow has the capability of being a starting quarterback. I've seen plenty of accurate in long.
Can he do it consistently, though, throughout the four
Exactly.
quarters? And that's always been the question.
Maybe the work that he's done with Noel Mazzoni has paid off. So we don't know that either. It'll be interesting to see him in training camp and the preseason games to see where he is.
I thought Kerley was disqualifying, saying also, I'm not sure what everybody else sees here. I'm interpreting the quote, but it came across like, I thought he was supposed to be terrible, and I don't see terrible.
Well, he even said, though, he expected him to be less accurate, is what he said. You know, he's surprised that he was as accurate as he was.
And to Coach's point, instead of dragging Mark Sanchez in it, why couldn't he have just said that and said, I caught passes from Tim Tebow. He's pretty accurate. The velocity is good. And this is why I think ultimately Mark Sanchez's psyche will break. Because this is going to be an every week thing. Comparing these two, the media attention is going to be completely slighted on Tim Tebow. And if you're Mark Sanchez and you've been there, you've already proven some things. Maybe you're not where you want to be or where they think you should be, but you've proven enough correct? And all of a sudden, here comes this guy, and he's taking all the spotlight.
Yeah.
People are wondering about his development, and they don't care about you anymore. And I think ultimately that's going to break you.
Coach, will it become a situation where the receivers and the teammates are ultimately picking camps? Are you a Tebow guy or are you a Sanchez guy?
No, I don't think it's going to be that way initially. I think that Rex is going to do a good job of saying, hey, Mark is our starter. This is how we're going to proceed. It's going to be really important for Tim to accept his role, be competitive, but if that's the role that he has, it's important for him to be supportive of Mark Sanchez. That doesn't mean he can't compete for the starting spot, and it's important for all those guys in the team to understand that anything they say is going to be blown up. This is different than talking about another player, and they're going to be asked everywhere they go.
Okay, my bottom line is, I don't think Tebow got nearly enough credit for the degree of difficulty he faced in Denver last year, because clearly Elway Fox not really sold. Locker room loved the incumbent starter, the former starter, Kyle Orton, who was there all the way till toward the end of the season. In this case, this locker room will be much more open to jumping on the Tebow bandwagon than last year. He was fighting against everyone last year, the Orton lovers and the Elway Fox.
Yeah, not everyone, because he had the fans clearly.
They had the fans, but not the locker room or the executive office or the coaching
He had to
staff.
win them over slowly.
That's
throughout
hard.
the course of the season.
You got to give him some credit for that.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to stop it down right there. Hey, don't forget, we've been telling you about this.